Overpaying for anything sucks, especially socks, so why pay $45 for a single pair of grip socks when you can spend less than half? Pure Grip Socks Pro feature our best materials for optimal fit, moisture wicking, and performance at a fair price, just $16.99 a pair at puregripsocks.com.
When it comes to picking out a new pair of football boots, I think everyone has their own list of priorities. For many, it's looks, performance, technology, comfort, but none of these things matter if you don't get them in the right size. Which is why today I'm going to be sharing 5 simple tips to help you get the right size in your football boots, including how to figure out which size you actually need in the first place. If you guys end up finding this video helpful, please don't forget to support it with a like. And if you're new here watching for the first time and don't want to miss out on future content, it'd be amazing if you could hit that subscribe button. All right, let's start with the big one. How do you know what size you need? Having had firsthand experience in working at a store fitting people for football boots, the first thing that most people want to do if they don't know what size they need or don't know a starting point is use what's called a Brannock device. You guys have seen this before. It's a tool that they use to measure the size of your feet. And that can act as a good starting point, but it's not an end-all be-all solution to figuring out exactly what size you need. Because even if that machine says you're a size 10, you can put a pair of boots on and you might actually need a size 9. It just doesn't really work as a true accurate way of figuring out what size you are in any given football boot. Which means there's only one way to know what size you need, and that is by actually trying on a pair of football boots. And if you genuinely have no idea what size you might need in a pair of football boots, I think a great place to start is taking a look at the size of the shoes you're currently wearing, whether they're sneakers, running shoes, whatever form of footwear you wear on a daily basis. That's where you should probably start in figuring out what size you are in most football boots. Keyword being most, because not all football boots fit exactly the same way, even when you're just talking about the length. Sometimes even within the same brand, some shoes can fit a little bit longer or a little bit shorter, which is why it's so tricky to pick the right size in a pair of football boots. Ideally, if you can go to a physical store and try on actual football boots on your feet before buying them, even if you're just gonna try them on and order them online later, that is a best case scenario. But if you are having to order online and you're playing a little bit of a guessing game, which unfortunately there is no way to avoid, just make sure you're ordering football boots from a place with a return policy. So if you do end up guessing the wrong size, you have the opportunity to return and exchange them for the right one. Now this is something that mostly concerns kids and teenagers, so parents, if you're watching, please listen to what I have to say, because very often when purchasing a brand new pair of football boots and deciding on what size you need, growing room is often a gigantic concern. Nobody wants to buy football boots for their kid at the start of a season and then end up having to replace them before the end of the season because they've outgrown them. Here's the thing about football boots. Unlike regular everyday sneakers that you get your kid for the start of the school year, where they're basically just gonna be sitting in class most of the day and then running around at recess, the quality of the fit, the precision of the fit isn't really all that important. It's just for them to have something on their feet throughout the day. When it comes to football boots, however, they're playing a sport in this product. This is something where the quality of the fit is not only detrimental to the overall comfort, it's also detrimental to the safety. So when you buy a pair of football boots that are too big for your child or even as an adult and you have issues with rolling your ankle, that's partially due to the fact that your football boots are too big and they are not holding your feet in place like they were designed to do if you had them in the right size. Here's my advice when it comes to buying football boots with extra growing room. While you need to take into consideration that there is a chance that your child is going to grow over a 6-month period, I think it's incredibly important to also realize that you're buying these football boots for them to play in right now, not in 6 months from now. Because even 6 months from now, if they've outgrown the football boots, it's highly likely, if they've been playing a lot, that those football boots are going to need to be replaced anyways. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I really don't think you should have any more than half a thumb's width of space at the end of your football boots, whether you're still growing or not, Football boots are designed and intended to fit snug, and if you want them to perform the part, want them to feel as comfortable as they're supposed to, and also not become a detriment to your overall safety, they need to be fit properly and not with too much extra growing room. When you think about getting the right fit and size from your football boots, I think people are solely focused on the boots, but you also have to take into consideration what your setup is in regards to how you're actually going to be wearing these football boots. What I mean by this is, do you wear a particular pair of socks? Do you wear double socks, grip socks? Do you have padded ankle protection on your shin guards? Do you tape your ankles? Is there anything unusual that you do to your feet when playing football specifically that you are not doing when trying on your new football boots? Because if that's the case, you're not giving yourself an accurate feel of how those football boots are going to feel when you actually have your complete setup on. So whatever you wear to normally play football in, make sure you're wearing that when you're being fitted for a new pair of football boots. Now, this might seem obvious to many and perhaps even dumb for me to suggest that you need to do this, but I can't tell you how many times I've seen people not do this when trying on new football boots, and that is put both football boots on your feet, tie them up as you normally would, and then stand up. When you stand up, your feet expand, both in regards to width as well as length. And when you're talking about something like a pair of football boots that have a very precise shape and fit to them, you want everything to feel right, and you're not gonna know if everything feels right until you stand up and have the opportunity to, at the very least, walk around a little bit. And this is where you have to be very analytical and figure out if everything about the way this football boot fits and feels on your feet is to your liking. If that's not the case, then it's highly likely that they're not the football boots for you. One of the most common scenarios when picking out a brand new pair of football boots is having already made up your mind on which ones are best for you before actually even trying them on. And I think we've all done this, including myself, where your favorite player is wearing a specific pair of boots and you want the exact same ones, and you have this kind of expectation in your head on how amazing they're going to be. But then once you actually have them on your feet, you kind of realize, or at the very least acknowledge, that they don't fit or feel as good as you were hoping they would. And at that point, you either have to make the decision to be stubborn and just stick with a pair of football boots that don't fit as good or feel as good as they potentially could, or you make the right decision, you be honest with yourself, and you try on some other options, at the very least just to see if there is improvement in other areas with other football boots. I think it's really, really stubborn to not try all the different options that are out there if you have that opportunity. And even if you're just ordering football boots online, I know waiting for boots and then having them arrive is super, super exciting. But if they show up at your house and you try them on for the first time and they don't fit right, the size is off, the comfort isn't right, something just doesn't feel good about them, rather than just being stubborn and hoping it's going to improve over time, the right decision more often than not is exchanging them for something else, whether it's a different size or a different model altogether.